It's our #1 selling beer for the last 20 years running, which accounts for the new ownership, if you will. Some of you may know if you're long faithful Narragansett fans, which I feel like there's almost all of you. About 20 years ago, this June 18th, I think exactly, our current president actually bought the brewery out of Chapter 14 liquidation. So 20 years ago, this brewery almost ceased to exist, like some of the ones that have long gone and left us, you know, the Anchorsteins of the world and the Ballast Points of the world as well. So we can pay big kudos to our current boss and ever thirsty leader, Mark Hellendrum, for that. Another fun fact there. And with that, Saving the Brewery saved this recipe, same recipe for 135 years. And what makes it even more special and even more easy drinking these days is that it is produced with corn because it's an adjunct lager, but one of the best states to source corn from is New York State. Yeah. So anytime you check a packaged beer, the next time you're at your local bodega getting your chopped cheese, or if you're at, you know, ShopRite picking up the week's worth of groceries, if you flip the can to the side, you'll see that it's actually made right in Rochester, New York. Our cousins in crime, if you will, is Genesee Cream Ales. They're, you know, naughty little prohibitionists like ourselves. So they produce 80% of all of our liquids. So lager on draft in cans right here in New York. Shandy, which is on deck tonight, right here in New York. Atlantic Light too, formerly Narragansett Light, also New Yorkers, just like yourselves. So thank you again for welcoming us and not treating us like enemies. So I think we have some samples of lager that are coming around for you now. And yeah, I didn't know they were saying love letters about this beer. This beer, I feel like, is one of the beers that brought me right into this industry. If you're also, you know, a gastro or gastronomist, if you will, like myself, it's one of my favorite beers to cook with. It's so affordable. It has the right brevity. It has the right IBU for just about anything you can hear with beer. Whether, you know, you're numbing your pork loin up in some beer before you go and roast it, or you need to add some beer to a barbecue pulled pork recipe, or you're making fried fish like our friends at Red Hook Lobster Pound do with their signature recipe for the last 20 years as well. But then again, you know, it just takes you to the backyard, and Memorial Day weekend that just passed, I've had some of you crush some of these in your backyard with your barbecues, or even if you take it to the beach, or like a long night under the stars camping. Just one of those best friends, you know, it's just like a good neighbor. Oh, we have a question.
I always heard this thing about the crushing it. You guys have like a way, you guys have like a safe methodology to crush it on your head? Because I've always seen people do it in movies. I've never seen someone do it in real life and not potentially give themselves a concussion.
You know, I don't have a very high success with that either. I feel like there is definitely a way to doing it by maybe crushing at the same time, like crushing the sides in and crushing the apples. But you know, try to at home, and I didn't recommend it or tell you to do so.
Quint does not crush it on his head.
Yeah, Quint is actually not the one who crushes it on his head.
I'm mixing it up with Animal House.
Oh yeah, I was saying, you know, John Belushi, God rest his soul, crushed man that crushed him many years. So we have
the lager.
So lagers are on our table. Cheers. Yeah, I feel like that's all that's left to say about lager.
Are there ever any like variations on the lager, like a fruity lager or anything that they never try to do anything with it, or it's just?
You know, I would say the variations of our lager are a lot of the things that we'll be drinking tonight, because the lager is the baseline of a lot of our liquids. It's the heart and soul of what we do. We like to keep everything kind of, you know, even keel and easy drinking, many rotations, because, you know, you can't drink all day if you don't start in the morning.
Yeah.
That's the truest thing I've ever heard. I feel like it's the unsung 11th commandment of things in life. There's like 10 commandments of beer, and the 11th is that you can't drink right if you don't start in the morning. But yeah, out of variations on our lagers, you know, the shandy is a lager, so that was like an evolution of the shandy, of the lager rather. However, I would say our home market is so spoiled. They get so many lovely different beers that I would just love to bring and share with all of you guys. But they hoard them for themselves. Our brewery in Rhode Island, which is now on Tockwatton Street in Providence in downtown. If you're ever up east, I was telling Mike earlier, if you're ever up east for the 4th of July, it's not too late. It's the best view of the fireworks, and it's one of the quaintest little Americana experiences for the 4th. You can, you know, eat some pizza and hot dogs and drink one of America's oldest lagers while taking in downtown Providence, and it's a quick train ride. Done it many times. And yeah, while you're up there and you're on Tockwatton Street in our brewery, there is all of the variations of our beers, whether it's, you know, the unsung autocrat coffee stout, some of our fruited sours that we've done, our Bohemian Pilsner that I have so many daydreams about. I get to see that Bohemian Pilsner the first week of September. I can't wait. But yeah, a lot of what we do is basically a lager that's seasoned, hopped, if you will. I like to think of hops as seasoning your beer. But yeah.
Will we see that Bohemian down here?
The next thing that comes that's close to a Bohemian and just as good as our lager is our Vienna lager, and that lives in New York City from November to President's Day.
What is it called?
Vienna lager.
Oh.
And it is very much like the very original Blue Point toasted lager, because we made this beer to combat them in the market when they sold out like losers. And now they're peddling Long Island Light out there, like that's that on that. Anybody else have like a fun anecdote about maybe the first time you had your first lager, or maybe your last lager that you had that, you know, ended up in some hooliganism or shenanigans?
They're not expired. Ask that question in a decade.
Yeah.
I'll wait for the second round. I'll wait for the after dark round.
I'm not going to invite my HR department into this lovely beer club.
Well, you close your eyes, you don't see it.
Perfect. So coming around for Mike right now is your second beer of the evening. This seems very much like the first beer you just had, water, on the table is now an Atlantic Light. You have met this beer before. You ever had a Narragansett Light? We did a staff survey apparently once upon a time before I worked here, and a lot of the staff felt that Natty Light and Narragansett Light were a little too similar, and that we needed to do something to differentiate ourselves from our light beer category. So although other beers that you know that are more light on calories, this is more an emphasis on a light ABV. So this comes in at 3.5% or Mooley Point micro lager. Very similar to the import that you might know large and well, the Amstel Light, also a micro lager. Doesn't compromise on taste. Brewed to 3.5%. We did not brew it and remove it, so that's why it still has all the right mouthfeel, has all the right full body taste, but just 3.5%. And you know, you only need a little beer in your bag. Because everyone needs a little beer, you know? Just a little beer. Cooked to perfection. Too bad someone already named their beer all day. Sure is. You call it all day long. But yeah, I like that. I like that we do a micro lager. I think it's really great, especially for those of you who are maybe a big fan of the best cocktail out there, the Boilermaker. Little beer and shot action. Not that you should have favorite places in the city, but one of my favorite places to do a Boilermaker is at Grand Army. I don't know if you've ever been. Really great spot for oysters. Really cool pop-up food menus, but the best of all is they have a hard start and it's an Atlantic Light pint can with a Fernet shot. It's Fernet, it's a high test to start your day. So little beer, big shot.
She's leaving her apartment now. That's
I feel like what we could do with Julia is what Modelo does with tequila. Mike, you're a very smart man. We probably already knew that. You know, you have this whole grandiose Lily operation. Also, yeah, give it up for Mike for, you know, letting you guys in and doing this every month. And having me here too. And all your bartenders, your front hash, back house, make it happen. Tip your bartenders. Not that you guys have to be told to do that. Very lovely crowd. I can tell everyone brought their best manners and cues this evening. But yeah, while we wait for our next beer, I know fun facts and anecdotes are always great. So you obviously know about this lovely man, Captain Clint, leading the charge, immortalizing our beer in Jaws. It turns 50 this summer, which is kind of why this is on right now. It is a big part of why we re-release the 1975 can every year. You know, pop culture is a big part of it. You know, being American, being in this country, we love our pop culture. We love that Jaws is the original blockbuster. But there are other fun, iconic pieces of pop culture that are tied into who we are is Dr. Seuss, oddly enough. Some may or may not know this, but once upon a time when we actually did printed advertisements in magazines. Weird. What are those? Dr. Seuss actually used to be an illustrator for a lot of our beer magazines. There are some very cool pieces of beer hardware, if you will, like serving trays when you used to have like branded trays for the cocktail waitresses to walk around with. There's illustrated pieces like that. I feel like you might be able to find some highlights on our Instagram account, which is just Instant Beer, Instant Beer. But yeah, very cool part of our history, early 1940s, post-World War II, when we were really growing and doing our best and drinking at home and, you know, supporting our brands. So now I believe we have the summer pleasure coming around for you guys. We're cruising right into the summer season. If only Mother Nature knew that's what we're doing right now. I feel like she would have lost her calendar. Oh yeah. I hope she didn't hear that part. I know we will be at Hell's front porch soon. So we'll enjoy the cool air while we have. But yeah, summer pressure. This is a draft-only beer in New York City. You will not find this beer in your grocery store. You will not find it in your bodega, your home beer. This is for the bars. This is just for the bars. So this is a wheat ale, fluffy ale in the summertime. It's 5%, so a touch more trouble than a lager, 4.7%. This is gently hopped, and I mean gently hopped in a way that we almost like taste it like a lemon drop hop, so you get this kind of like very subtle zestiness to it. Tiny bite. I believe the IBU is 28, so it's just like almost like a snap. But yeah, just easy breezy drinking. Makes you want to be on a beach. I know Corona tells you to find your beach. This will tell you to find your wave. Yes. Was no, this actually this was born from a lot of conversations with our beer distributor. So as we were evolving in the market and wanting to respond to what everyone was producing for seasonals, we like to do what we do well and kind of nail it and run with it. So that's why you'll only really see 4 beers from us year round. And then our seasonals that we do, we really just do them for the bars because we don't want to paralyze you with choice at the grocery store or wherever you shop for your beer. Because I feel like, you know, I succumb to it too when I'm trying to try a new beer that's not my own. It's really hard to not drink this beer every day. But yeah, when you go to the grocery store, we really respect a lot of the beer makers who are cutting a rug out here in New York City. And we were once, the new kid on the block, and we like to do what we do well. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. So Summer Pressure was our answer to when summer beers were really pushing out. I want to say end of 2014, 2015, the height of every season had a new beer, everyone had a new answer for everything. So this was a big thing that we partnered with our distributor about and saying like, hey, we have 300 brands giving you a ton of feedback in the market, which we're in. We do almost offer you. What can we do for our summer seasonal? We have a pumpkin, that's great. We have this Vienna water, that's great for the winter. What can we do for the summer? So we landed on Summer Pressure, lemon drops, make me think of taking shots with my friends on a rooftop. So I feel like that's where the lemon drop top hops comes in. Just a tiny zest.
Still tastes like a beer.
Little citrusy, it's not overpowering. It's not going to completely change your mouth palate. You can go and eat things and it's not ruined. It's supple enough that, you don't really feel like you're drinking anything too heavy.
Hey, I have some children.
That is true.
This is really good.
Question. So, is it an easier sell on beer, just beer, value beer, versus selling cider, a New York State craft cider? That was pretty regional. I would say they're equally the same, which is probably the most annoying question. They have so many trivial nuances to, overcome the objections in the market, whether, working for Dock Cider, our liquid was very similar and palatable to that, like an Angry Orchard or a Magna. So, trying to give in someone who, owns 9 big bars to go with the little guy, even though we're the same price. Like, go with the little guy instead of going with, the same choice everyone's doing. So once you can get one big guy to do that and you have a marker, it makes it easier. I would say selling beer, the challenges these days is we're maybe millionaire beer makers, and then there's billionaire beer makers in the market. And I feel like as the tides change and everyone becomes more conscious of where our dollars are going, it's hard to not talk about cost of everything's going up, the train's going up, the parking's going up. We try to be that small independent beer brand beacon of light that holds steady at being your $5 happy hour beer with this gentleman, thanks before. And I said, that's a large part into you guys choosing us over choosing, the other macro forces that are out there, going with, essentially a family brand. Family brand meaning a gentleman who owns this company, his daughter's friend interned for us. So it's all very small. There's less than 45 people in the entire company, and we're only in 27 states. But by volume, we outsell Rolling Rocks in the market. We preceded them from being the number 10 top value domestic premium beer choice. So also, thank you again, guys. New York City continues to be our biggest market by leaps and bounds. You guys are obviously doing the Lord's work right now. But yeah, they all have their same challenges. I would say though, working for a brand, if I had to choose, selling cider was a little bit easier because I worked in the home. It was like working in the home team. and it is a smaller niche market, and they were legacy beer. They are legacy cider makers for what they are. They kind of carry the New York State Farm and Wine license. I can do a total TED talk about the New York State Farm and Wine license that actually carries and gives the New York State breweries the ship to float on, was signed into bill into our Congress and state constitution in 1974, and at that time there was 12 wineries in New York State. 12 wineries in the entire state in 1974. No breweries, 1 distillery. And if you look today, there are over 380 wineries. I think we just cracked 1,000 breweries in this state. There's 250 plus distilleries, and it's all on the same life of this one mill in 1974. And the gentleman who owned cider kind of put New York State on the map for being craft producers back in 2008 when they opened Black Dirt Distillery, which still operates Ray Jones right here in Manhattan. They were the largest independent craft distillery on the East Coast by volume for 5 years running. So a lot of what I learned from them, take from them of being independent craft makers, and then going into a legacy beer maker. You know, you take a lot of the trials and tribulations of one and use, the ways you overcome objections that way in the market for the other. Yeah, selling cider in the #2 apple state in the U.S. was kind of nice. You also get to sell to the brewery, so you're selling cider for free beer. Yeah, that's that. If you ever drink dark cider here, thank you for that. That was me for a very long time. Oh my God, this beer. This beer, if you find it in a grocery store, it's probably because the grocery store is not near me. This is one of my favorite beers to absolutely rip because it is the most baby IPA style beer you can find. It's been known to be full ale. If you find it in the stores, the can will say session. I just think it's an easy drinking, gently hopped beer. There isn't very much about this beer that differentiates it from being more of a lager or an ale, except for its IBU. Its grain and malt bill is very similar to what we use in our lager recipes. But the big flavor that you get out of this is Citra hop. It's one of your most common West Coast hops, which I don't have to tell all of you about. Very well worked in Citra hops. Brands that I really enjoy Citra hops from, like Sierra Nevada. Yeah, I'll just count them all at the end. Take any like T-bone. Why did we stop T-boning beers? Like, why did we ever stop doing that? That was such a great time. So this is our fresh catch. This is a gently hopped beer. I feel like we go back and forth in the brewery. If it's an ale, if it's a lager, if it's a session. Very apple or tomato. The most important thing about this beer, though, it is so satiating. It doesn't give you too much of a change in your mouthfeel or your mouth taste. It definitely is something that I like to drink when I'm drinking all day. Not that that happens all the time, but when it does, it's one of those beers that you can drink in between your lagers, and it kind of like brings your mouth back to life. I also highly recommend cooking with this beer. We love to say that it's seafood's favorite beer. It goes really great around like a crawfish boil, or if you're making any chili or any seafood stews, just because it's a seasoned beer and it has that like zesty little pop to it. But again, 4.7%. It's really a real shame that someone already ends their day all beer, because I can drink this beer all day. But yeah, fresh catch. Yes, we our biggest beer partner on Long Island would be ShopRite for your lager, and then Beverage Island. Those homies just They love to keep us available for you guys, and they deliver too, even on Sundays. Even if you had a little too much to go on Saturday, maybe can't make it out on Sunday, they will help you out. It's like being a good neighbor. Speaking of, oh my god, great unintentional segue, Mike. So we all have probably come across on a can or even your pint glasses before the lovely moniker Hi Neighbor. And now that the unofficial season of summer comes underway, it also is the height of baseball season for all the baseball fans out there. Shout out to the Yankees, shout out to the Mets, doing the Lord's work, you know. Hopefully these Knicks too, but we're just not going to acknowledge it until we have to. The Hi Neighbor phrase ties into baseball. As you know, we talked about us being from the Northeast and being from Rhode Island, and how we've been immortalized into pop culture. A big piece of Northeast and New England pop culture is our former legendary announcer at Fenway. He used to open every game at Fenway with Hi Neighbor. It's a great day at Fenway. Here's our starting lineup. So when he passed, as an homage to him, we put that on a ribbon on the side of our cans, and I would say one of our best pieces of guerrilla marketing is anytime you see that lovely bumper sticker like this one out in the market, you know that you have crossed paths with a Ganza drinker like yourself, so you're probably in the right place.
Now I recognize the sticker because I've seen them around.
Oh yeah, this is I would say our speakeasy password, if you will. If you had a speakeasy password, I feel like everyone would know ours is Hi Neighbor.
Quick question.
Sure.
What was the name of the baseball guy?
I don't know his name off the top of my head, and I should. I want to say his name is probably Ted.
Okay, because it's funny you say that because the Yankees, for the longest time, had a guy that would do this the thing. He would always emphasize the the. Don't remember his name. He'd always do the pitch, and then when they would win, he'd go, the Yankees win.
I believe that was Don Mattingly, they said. Who was Michael Sterling, was it? And Don Sterling and Michael
Well, the
Kay.
funny part was that I never liked him. My dad, who was a Yankee fan, never liked it. And I said, he sounds like he's having a stroke. And my dad busted out laughing.
No, that's just like, I feel like he was also very much known for, aside from enunciating, it would be like, it is high, it is far, it is gone.
Yeah.
Yankees win.
Yeah,
He had a shtick.
He had a shtick, but my dad despised when he would do the Yankees win. And I said, it sounds like he's having a stroke, and he laughed so effing hard at that.
It seems that he was successful in a memorable moniker. Are you gonna like it? Just never forget that, you know? Shandy lemon?
Oh, the lemon shandy. I love this one.
We are wrapping up here with the fresh catch on your table as we are talking about baseball. The next beer that's coming around is Shandy, which also is a very tied to baseball. So Shandy is also familiar as Radlers if you're drinking like import. Radlers typically are at a lower ABV because they are meant for drinking beer and lemonade while working. This beer comes in at 4.5%, low on the IBU as well, right around 20. Our Shandy will be a little bit different than most Radlers or Shandies that you find because ours is actually formed from lemon Italian ice. Similar to Ralph's that you get here on the island, ours is more,
It's really good.
Grade wines on being like dry to sweet. This would be on the dry end of your Shandy Radler choices, whereas maybe something more on the import side might be more on the sweet end. We recently had a nice meet and greet with the very fun folk at Jack Daniels and found out that this is their new favorite beer to drink with Jack Daniels. Highly recommend it if you are non-driving. But yeah, it has that very nice, almost pithy kind of lemon taste to it. On a hot day, this fresh out of the cooler, you're just like finished power washing the side of your house and you're like, I think I might fall over, but wait, there's a shandy in the cooler. It is the nicest thing to hit your lips on like July 31st, 3 p.m. and it is 98 degrees out.
I'm heading out today, so it's my life.
I just hope not in Wednesday. I don't know if they'll make it to the beer club after that. Yeah, totally understand that it's not for everyone. Again, tasting things that are more dry versus sweet. You could be more of a Moscato person and not so much like a Chardonnay person, if you will. I feel like it allows there to be a shandy for everyone. You can take this to your life rice to keep it extra cold. I learned that from my mom. Learn something new every day. You can drink beer on ice. But yeah, this came together though with a hard collab with this Italian ice company, Dell's Lemon Ice. The way that we have Mr. Softy trucks here in New York City, and you get that ever lovely. The Mr. Softy truck comes around and it triggers the same sensation for kids all over Rhode Island and Massachusetts when the Dell's Lemon Ice truck comes around. If you ever go up to Fenway or have been at Fenway, it gets hella hot in that stadium just like everywhere else. And we started noticing that fans were buying our lagers and looking at full lager prices. There she is. Cheers to her. The reason why we can all run, she walked just for us. Here we go. Oh, and see, she just made her cameo here. The shandy is available all year round, although it is more summer-bound and summer-adjacent. People have Christmas and July parties, you know, don't want to hear anyone see it. You can have a shandy and December party.
Ari had that.
And I think it's just so much
She got lockjaw like
The first time ever.
any feedback or to conclude the night, we have a beer for all of you to take with you. You can have it down in your house or you can take it home with you, but it is one of your, the lager replica cans, the vintage one. And if you... Oh, okay, so Mike wants us all to chug a beer. Let's brew chug a beer. All right, not all at once, but civilized. In a civilized fashion. If you want to grab a beer from up here, there's also a koozie sticker for everyone. I so appreciate you guys coming out and drinking all the Hanses.
Just wait till everybody has the beer and then we're gonna open them and chug them and crush them together, okay? this, of everybody doing this. Alright, come on, don't be shy, come on up.
He's just a metal vocalist.
Yes!
There's one that's crushing like quick.
If you will, that is Narragansett, part of the original, right? The original ownership that's been running for 20 years. Then, yeah, being part of an independent company and that you're seeing get outnumbered, we all know what to do. And it's great. Drinking a big beer that's also a small beer, you know? Speaking like sleeping giants. All of these speaking. But yeah, I'm here if you guys have any specific questions that you want to bring to the class. Totally understand, you know? Like never shy to answer anything. I appreciate you most of all. Yeah, thank you. Thank you again, Mike. Hot shot. All your
Club again, we could do without you. Go to your local place and say, why don't you have Narragansett on draft? Because every place you have Narragansett. It's an easy drinker. It's cost effective. There's really no reason not to have it. Do we not trust? Do we not trust? Oh, it's gonna sell much better. I like chili. If you go to Chili's, get the Narragansett. It goes great with the ribs.
You can get a shoulder and you can have 2-ounce beer with 25%.
Yeah.
Like what? You drink here or you drink Max is there $2? Or yeah, or you just take it.
Why don't we just go with the lager?
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. We'll see you next month. I'm not sure who we have, but I'll check our Facebook and Instagram, and I'll update it as soon as possible. All right. Cheers.
Yeah.
Hello? Oh yeah, everyone come up and get a koozie and a sticker, please. If you haven't already. If you already did, don't.